friends, I'm Jill Wyoskowski, a librarian with Dearborn Heights City Libraries, and this is an episode of Altered Books. Altered Books is an in-person art program for adults that was meeting prior to the COVID-19 pandemic at Caroline Kennedy Library. In the meantime, we'll be sharing episodes via YouTube to help spark your creativity. Fun, nerdy disclaimer. I am not an artist, just a librarian, and I do not pretend my art or projects are even all that good, but it is something I truly enjoy doing. With that said, no matter your skill level, we're here to be creative, alter books, and most importantly, to have fun. You may be wondering, what exactly is an altered book? An altered book is a form of mixed media art that changes a book from its original form into a new and different form, thus altering the book's appearance and or meaning. In other words, the spirit of the program is to take an old, damaged, or unwanted book and upcycle it by giving it a new purpose, which in turn gives the book a new life. In this episode of Altered Books, I'll introduce an altered idea, using a Zentangle drawing as a background. I'd like to dedicate this episode to Verona, an early adopter of our Altered Books program and an avid quilter. Before we get started, I'd like to briefly chat about Zentangles. The Zentangle is a free-form drawing that is structured from shapes with repeating patterns made from a combination of points, lines, simple curves, and other shapes. A characteristic of the Zentangle is that they can be viewed equally, no matter which way you turn the paper. The idea of the Zentangle came from former monk Rick Roberts and artist Maria Thomas, who brought together meditation, Zen, and art. Credit for this particular Zentangle pattern, on target, goes to artist Barbara Fenwell, pictured on the right. Now that we know a bit about Zentangles, let's get started. The supplies needed for this project are as follows. A hardcover book that's had the necessary pre-project prep work completed. Stay tuned for more on this in a moment. A pencil with a good eraser, a ruler, and a colored pen or ultra fine point marker. Before the fun begins, you'll need to do a little prep work on the book you're about to alter. If you're new to Altered Books or need a refresher, please take a few and watch the intro video which covers book selection. The pre-project prep video lays out the removal and gluing of pages, a necessary step before starting just about any Altered Books project. To kick off this project, you'll need to do a small bit of planning based on the size of your book. You'll need to draw a grid on 2 pages and decide if you want blank space or not along the edges. This will be the first set of squares. The grid on each of my pages is 7 centimeters by 20 centimeters, which resulted in each square being 4 by 4. On to the second set of squares. Simply draw a square within each space of your grid. No ruler is necessary. In fact, I skipped it for this part of my project. Now draw yet another square inside each space of your grid. Counting the grid outline, this will be the third square drawn in each spot. So you get the idea at this point. Draw a fourth square. Note that this square will later serve as the base for your triangles. Last square. Draw a small fifth square nestled inside of the others. Now onto the triangles. For this part of the project, I used a ruler, and I'll be honest, my eraser a whole lot. Take your time with this step. For each square within your grid, you'll be drawing 4 triangles, with the base being the 4th square you drew earlier. The points, or the top of the triangles, should be at the initial grid lines for the first square you drew earlier. Hopefully the image on the right helps clarify things. Last step, time for some color. We have 2 color patterns going on with this project. The first, apply color to every other square within the grid and alternate the pattern for the square next to it. The second pattern to consider concerns the triangles. Simply use the opposite color of the portion of the square that it resides within. If the square is blue, then that portion of the triangle will be white. And bazinga! You've altered your book by drawing a Zentangle background. Thanks for stopping by and checking out this episode of Altered Books. As always, we would love to see your creations. Shoot us an email at dhreference@gmail.com or use the hashtag DHCLibraries on social media. Enjoyed what you saw here? Subscribe to the Dearborn Heights Library channel on YouTube and be notified when there's a new episode. Only interested in arts and crafty stuff? No worries, we got you covered. Check out the arts and crafts playlist and skip the rest. Before we wrap up, did you know that Dearborn Heights City Libraries are offering curbside pickup? You can request books, movies, music, and video games via our website, dhcl.mishlibrary.org, by phone or email, and we'll bring the items out to you. Home delivery is also an option. Last blurb, I promise. Did you know that with your Dearborn Heights City Libraries card, you have access to our digital collections, Libby, sometimes called Overdrive, Hoopla, and Canopy, which are packed full of ebooks, audiobooks, music, and even movies? Visit our website at dhcl.mishlibrary.org and click on Electronic Resources. I'm Jill Wyoskowski with Dearborn Heights City Libraries. Stay connected with us at dhcl.mishlibrary.org and on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now on Pinterest. Thanks for tuning in.